Hey guys, Scott Adams here again. So one of the things that we deal with a lot are subscriptions. So many times subscriptions will raise chargeback rates. Now this does not need to be the case. Generally you're going to have a little bit of chargeback rate increase because you have more transactions and subscriptions are slightly less predictable to the consumer than a one-off purchase. So it's natural to have some chargeback creep, but it's not what you're looking for or not what should be happening if you have a massive increase in chargebacks. And generally this is caused by a few different things. So one, and we've talked about this a lot in other videos, what we call our roller coaster optimization, which is just the idea that there's a lot of different touch points where the consumer needs to be happy because they've went through a lot of emotions to decide to buy your product. They eventually press the button to pay, and then they may or may not get what they wanted, and a few other steps along there. And so one of the things you have to be really careful about when you start a subscription program is making sure that you communicate it super clearly that this is a subscription. And so, look at, it's almost like, reading an essay or proofing an essay. And how in school, you might have been told to read it backwards. So think about that in your order process. Look and see, okay, did they get what they wanted? Start there. And if they got what you think they wanted, now go to the next part, which would be in the order page. Read the order page. Does it actually match with what they received? Is there any way they could misconstrue or that you've miscommunicated here, that they're not going to actually get what they thought they were getting when they subscribed? And then also make sure, is it clear that they subscribed? One of the things you're not supposed to be doing, and I still see a lot of merchants doing this, is putting a checkbox or any kind of terms below the button. Right? So that's actually against FTC regulations and a lot of state marketing regulations because they're basically agreeing to something that they haven't technically necessarily seen yet. Also, is it pre-checked? That pre-checked box is also against the rules. But even more to the point though, they can see that, or you can see how that would increase your chargebacks because they're subscribing to something, but they might not have been aware. And then, again, back to the order page and even your sales process, run through that. And are you promising anything you did not deliver? And on top of that, you can think about just the technical issues, right? Because a one-off purchase is pretty easy. But when you have subscription, you need to make sure that all the emails go out, that you continuously get the emails, the logins work, the product continues to work. All these kind of things have to all fall into place. That's really probably the biggest place where subscriptions cause problems and raise chargebacks. Another thing to think about though too is if you're doing a recycling program, which you should, right? When you charge a credit card and get declined, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should stop charging. But you have to look carefully at those decline codes. And when you do that, be aware they're not always perfect. And so you can do some experimenting. But anytime you do recycling, you're going to have even a higher chance of chargebacks going up. And so you have to work on that and optimize that. And there's a number of companies that are pretty good at it. Talk to me if you want to know more about that. And we help with that somewhat. So a subscription can be good. And many of them are. Just you have to make absolutely sure that your consumer knows what they're getting, when they're getting it, and that you're hopefully over-delivering and not under-delivering. So thanks. I hope that helps.